Getting ready for game number 3 of the HGC Western Clash Grand Finals. Team Dignitas up 2-0 over Fnatic. Any predictions on where we're going for game 3?
If Fnatic actually decide to take the map pick, I'm going to think they're going to go to Sky. They really love the map, like I said before the break. If they don't take the map pick and take first pick again, I think Dignitas will take them to Infernal. It's a good teamfight map, but it also works a bit with Stitches.
I think Fnatic should take the map, and I think they should go to Dragonshire. It's not as 5v5 oriented, and I feel like they'll be able to have some breathing space there.
Yeah, that's my thought as well. And we saw them do very well against the Misfits, actually, in particular, today on Dragonshire. So we'll see where we're going, and it's going to be...
Infernal Shrines.
I want to clone
to
Tetcher and have him take my place.
You didn't get to see Tetcher's victory dance there, being correct.
I'll take your map draft if you take my hero drafts.
Infernal Shrines. So yet again, another potential for Team Dignitas to have big 5v5 fights, try to get some more picks. You think we'll just continue seeing what they're running until Fnatic finds the answer?
Well, Gilly, I do think we'll see another Medivh ban here for Dignitas. I think they're on a roll with deleting fools.
Yeah, doing well. And this is a battleground that Dignitas loves to go to. We've seen HGC very, very often. They are very comfortable here as well. I'm wondering if we might see a Stitches ban, if that actually might occur here for Fnatic.
After this setup, it wouldn't surprise me, but one of the other heroes who Dignitas have threatened in the last game was Kael'thas, who also excels on this map in terms of clearing up the skeletons. Malfurion, banned by Fnatic. It's also a good follow-up to the Stitches, so they're sort of calling Dignitas' bluff. They feel good, and wow, you guys were right, Medivh banned.
Well, think about it. Fnatic had a couple moments in that last matchup where they actually could have gone for a hard engage after dealing with the Stitches maneuvers, but Malfurion walking forward and bringing in a Twilight Dream brought enough time and enough interaction for Dignitas to turn the fight into their favor. Maybe they think Malfurion is the main problem, especially with the way that Bakery has been playing it.
Yeah, Malf doesn't know how to lose, so he gets removed from the game, so he can't get a win here for Team Dignitas. Now, Dignitas, they have plenty of other ways to delete. There's a pretty big hero pool in Heroes of the Storm. They really ramped it up from 2 years ago, and so I'm sure Dignitas will be able to find something that can kill heroes.
I mean, even first series, we saw them with Tyrande. However, a little bits of follow-up are slowly being removed by Fnatic. They now have Ragnaros for themselves, where the Sulfura Smash is super good at following up on those Stitch Silks if there is someone else to lock them down first. But, like we said, Tyrande is still available, and they're not afraid to run her.
Fnatic had a lack of damage in game number 2, and I want to say a slight lack of damage in game number 1 as well. I would like to see them definitely concentrate on that. Probably the best way to counter the kill comps here for Dignitas is to take a large portion of it themselves. And as you said, Tetcher, they already started a bit with that, with Ragnaros.
Dig electing to grab Rhaegar into Haka. I want you guys to think about something, though. Yeah. Dignitas is one of the only few teams in HGC that still run Sylvanas occasionally on this battleground in a 4th and 5th slot, so we could see that here. Fnatic needs to be prepared. Obviously, they have Ragnaros set up, so they're in a good spot to deal with the pressure coming their way.
I've got to give props to Fnatic here. Despite the fact that Dignitas have put them on the back foot a bit with some very surprise drafts, Fnatic, they're staying calm. They're continuing to draft their own game. They feel confident with it on this map. The worst thing you can do in this kind of situation is panic and pick outside of what you planned.
I want to see a kind of standard draft coming out for Fnatic. Another thing I just want to pay attention to, and this isn't only related to the draft, the first kill for Dignitas happened within a minute of the game starting. You see Fnatic literally rolling out of the gate, going for that first engagement, and you only do that to someone who keeps missing skill shots, who keeps messing up. Dig is super on point, so whatever Fnatic does in draft here, they need to make sure to at least not do that.
No, I agree with you. You need to not mess up the early fights. If you put yourself in a situation for a hero like Stitches or even Dahaka in this case to punish, you're going to get in trouble.
Well, on top of that, too, it gives the opponent so much momentum. They can just feel it. They get that first hook, and then the fire is lit. Li Ming has now been banned out for Team Dignitas. Fnatic looking for their ban over here, and they are actually having Tyrael. I initially thought this would be a good ban for Dignitas, but Fnatic electing to do so themselves. Granted, with so many melees on the left side, perhaps Fnatic decides not to want to move into that.
If Fnatic had gone for Tyrael, I would have probably expected them to maybe go for Lucio, as they didn't have any range, just get everyone in range to get their melees off. But it's a solid ban. Tyrael, very solid on this map. Holy Ground has lots of choke points, and Sanctification on the objective is always lovely.
Something that Dignitas is doing this game and the last game is also removing 2 of Shrimpy's heroes every time. As the flex for Team Fnatic and as one of the most emotional players on Team Fnatic. Shrimpy, with two of his best heroes being removed, could maybe, being 0-2 behind, kind of feel the squeeze. If his insecurity here could drag Fnatic down a bit, that's definitely something that Dignitas would want to bank on, if that's the case.
He does have one of the higher hero pools, but you said it exactly. He is a bit more emotional, and if he's forced onto something he wasn't expecting to pick, okay, well, you can tell that the preference is there. Dignitas knows what they like, and they pick it. Once again, Stitches, Tyrande. How well prepared for it are Fnatic?
I mean, the last one we can already dream it. It's going to probably be Kael'thas. It could be Gul'dan, but probably Kael'thas. So what does Fnatic take here?
Oh man, Dignitas, if it's not broken, don't fix it here. So Fnatic with their Greymane, their ETC, and their Ragnar Roast, do you go with a...
You need cleanse.
Yeah, you need a cleanse, obviously, for the Luna Flare setup. Do you go for hard engage afterwards? Do they pick up... Oh man, it's so weird because you need like some setup. You have your ETC already, but I would like for more follow-up just to handle that Stitches hook.
Is it crazy to go Uther and Tassadar here? You get more support than one offers, and you just put Greymane with Divine Shield on Tyrande. And what does Dignitas do then? Tyrael is gone.
I kind of like that, but I also like potentially Brightwing and Tassadar. As Brightwing bringing the cleanse and Blink heal, still giving the healing. It's Lucio and Tychus to finish up.
Well, those are also heroes, but I don't think they're the right ones.
Why is
No,
that? Why is that?
no cleanse for Lunar Flare, Drag Tongue,
Yeah.
Storm Totem, Stitches' Butcher Bile, the hook. There is no cleanse. And you have one support against, I mean, a lot of damage coming out of Dignitas here soon. Kael'thas.
And if Kael'thas more lockdown, so once again falling under that no cleanse banner that you are pointing out, this is scary for Fnatic.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Dignitas here. I'm not biased one way or another. I love both of these teams. But just for the sake of more games, I'm worried here for Fnatic.
I think Fnatic does have the chance here to boost in, though, and drop a sound barrier if the opponent is not eliminated fast enough for Dignitas. There is some save potential here for the team, and maybe they think Lucio being able to boost on in, drop a sound barrier, could be enough to allow them to finish the fight.
I will say I'm super happy for Fnatic in terms of running that Tychus. The biggest issue they've had against their Stitches is killing it. Because yeah, Giant Killers and all that is good, but Stitches just stands there and accepts the damage. He welcomes it. But Tychus going to make him have a bit more of a rougher time and maybe have to play a bit further back, which is not where he wants to be.
So Tetra, are you saying that you're giving your prediction to Fnatic then?
No, I'm still giving it to Dignitas because Dignitas' lockdown is so good. I just feel that the Tychus may be a saving grace for Fnatic.
Trixler?
I think I lean towards Fnatic. I think Lucio could be enough here for them to get the engage that they're looking for.
No lack of damage from Fnatic this side. They have 3 of it, and that's a great news for them because they really lacked it earlier. Nonetheless, I'm going to go with Dignitas here.
Yeah, I have to agree. Team Dignitas not only running what they have been running and doing very well with, but having all of the momentum behind them. You can see they pick Kael'thas. The crowd cheers for them. They have grins on their faces.
Oh, the jacket's going off.
Oh, snap.
Like taking off training weights. Bakery is ready.
Team Dignitas, when we talked to them way before, at the very beginning of this event, Bakery said that playing in front of a LAN just makes all the difference for them. Being able to play in front of a crowd, and they do have a lot of fans here.
Yeah, I mean, this is just Dignitas on fire. If the new UI changes from Heroes of the Storm were here, they would all be on fire now. Their frames would be lit.
They would indeed, and once again, they are trying to replicate their performance from last year. There is a poster of them hoisting the trophy up on the wall behind us. They're looking to replicate that success and lift this trophy, which is really cool.
They're looking for it, but you can't count Fnatic out. Even though they're down 0-2, we know what this team is capable of, what they've done throughout this entire league for the last 5 weeks, what they've done in the past in the most impressive moments, BlizzCon 2016. You can't fully count them out here. Fnatic, man, give them a chance.
Fnatic, when we talked to them, said that they hadn't prepared strategies for any one specific team. They were preparing a lot of things, and they felt like they wouldn't have any problems if both Dignitas and Misfits, who know their strategies banned one thing, they would still have plenty up their sleeves to bring out, but yet, doesn't really feel like the flexibility has been there so far. We'll see if Lucio is the difference to allow Fnatic to come back in this series. We're headed into game number 3.
Game number 3 has started and we are on Infernal Shrines. And I still can't believe I'm saying this, but Fnatic is 1 map loss away from losing this series without taking a single map against a team Dignitas that showed up here, threw the rulebook out, and dominated this series.
Yeah, fighting their way through the losers bracket, you know, it's just taking out Team 8, taking out Misfits, and now possibly Fnatic. Fnatic has to perform here, and I think a lot of it here is going to come down to this more standard composition. After, you know, things got weird game 1, they ran standard, Dignitas bodied. So then 2, they're like, we're going to mix it up. Didn't work. So now they're like, you know what, screw it, we're going back to the norm. And now it seems like Dignitas, that double warrior, double support, they're a little bit on the weird side.
And I mean, think about this for just a moment. If I would have said before the start of the tournament that in the grand final, Fnatic would be in a situation where they have to be afraid to be eliminated by losing 3 times in a row to Stitches, I would have been laughed out of the stadium.
Yeah, no, I would have been the first there to push you out, to be honest. I completely agree with you. And that it wasn't just like a one-hit wonder, Stitches, that it was like a core, this is in every single game in the hands of JPL. No, it is mind-boggling that we find ourselves here in this position.
And if I would have told you that Tyrande has 100% participation and win ratio in this particular final, you would have probably just laughed at me and walked away.
Yeah, just...
As is though, we are in that situation, and once again, JPL with a hook, and immediately Bakery is there. They are looking for this, but Breeze is on ETC this time, and they are angry. Fnatic is mad, and they want the win. This time, this is their last chance. This is the moment in the time where Fnatic can make the start of a comeback happen, and they have a very comfortable composition for that.
They do have a very comfortable composition. I do fear, again, that follow-up to the Gray Man. It's been my talking point this entire tournament because I am very concerned with it. Who is going to be the one who secures the kills? You have an amazing amount of bursts, and we saw it so successful when it was paired with things like the Li Ming to get that reset, but Tychus isn't known as, you know, the finisher of those fights.
Go for the throat.
You could. That is what I'd like to see, especially, you know, but it's going to be actually very difficult into a double support to go for the throat procs. That being said, it's going to be even harder to get any kills there if they move into the Curse Bullet.
For me, one of the players to really watch out for here is Breeze now. He's on ETC, it's one of his best heroes. He is by far the best tank that we have in Europe when you look at statistics. He has to be the one to get the isolation here. He has to be the one to make the plays, initiate at the perfect time. But now the Shrine is up and both teams are fighting for Punisher #1.
Yeah, it's going to be a 10 skeletal defender lead for now, but Dignitas seems like they have very little interest, at least for now. Dahaka may be questioning if he wants to get the burrow.
Yeah, Jay in this case, oftentimes we've seen Stitches go into a composition that was a little more leaning towards damage, but again, Quatnik's in trouble. He gets out. Zelia wanted the kill and burrowed in, but Quatnik's already out of range. JPL though, it's a kill on each side. Ragnaros down, Stitches eliminated, and Fnatic is driving Dignitas off the Shrine.
Experienced kills and skeletal defenders here are tied, but that Flame Strike is going to set Dig a smidge ahead. Who can secure the Punisher? Wave Clear is very, very good on the side of Dig. Purely when looking at Mene, everybody else is going to struggle. 30-28.
Well done by Breeze, making sure that the tongue does not go through from Dehaka. 29 against 37. Fnatic, they want it, they get it, and Breeze is sliding in. He's trying to get an additional kill. They can't secure it, but they have the punish on their side now.
Yeah, this is going to be all right for them. Again, Fnatic, and I mean, just Infernal Shrines overall, actually, is going to make it to those later parts of the game. And it's not like Fnatic has an overly dominant sieging composition, at least not pre-10 here. So it's just going to get the little bit of damage and, you know, just kind of push the game a smidge further.
You get the better part of the wall here. You can later on make a play then for the well. But right now, of course, they have to be careful that the Haka will be a threat. He can move in. Fnatic is splitting onto the lane side now for the experience. But now that we have the first punish out of the way, talk to me about Lucio. What do you think his impact is going to be on the game? Is he going to change anything for Fnatic here?
I think the one thing he drastically changes is hook probability, as long as people are going to be within range with him. You know, even at level 1, going with We Move Together is going to give his team a natural 20% speed increase while they're dismounted and surrounding him. And so that is going to make the hooks far more difficult. That being said, if somebody gets hooked, there is no way he can pop his heroic and get it off in time. The cast time's too long, and Mene got out of bot, gets the B-steps back. Schwimp.
Yeah, they were pretty B-steppy in game #2, but Shrimpy actually returning the favor here, and Breeze must have felt a lot of satisfaction moving in and just slamming that guitar right across Kelthar's face.
I'm trying to actually question if I enjoy the idea of a reverse amp on the Lucio. Traditionally, I would always suggest in a solo support scenario to run a sound barrier here. But again, I don't really know if they're gonna, if the combo comes out at any point, sound barrier unlikely is very unlikely to be able to get it off. Again, the cast time is very, very long, and it's, you have to, not only is it a long cast time, you have to be directly next to them. And a fishing hook, I don't care how fast Lucio is, there's no movement speed that can match that in a 1 second duration. So Smex has to be on point. I don't know what that looks like, to be honest, in this type of situation. He's such a new hero in such a creative and diverse comp on the side of Dig that I don't know what that looks like, but he has to be on point.
Yeah, the thing is that Smex has made such a great development over the course of the last year, and every single time you see him in these situations, he seems to always to deliver. He knows what to do at the right moment. He's always there when you need him. But right now, they need him to keep ETC alive. Priest is there at the front, but look at Mina! He's dead again! This time, a little bit too far out here, and this is an opportunity that Fnatic jumps on.
One thing that's awesome to see out of Fnatic in this game, beyond just the aggression and some of the picks they've been able to get, is that it seems like this is the first time since Dig has moved towards this Tyrannus playstyle that they decide to manipulate the map and focus on just out-controlling the map, because that is the biggest qualm of most Tyrannus compositions, is they struggle on wave clear, and if you can put them in a lose-lose situation, they will always look for the pick, which oftentimes leads to a key.
They're not playing Fnatic's Dignitas game anymore.
No.
They're actually just going straight in, and they are looking for the kills right now. This is the Fnatic that made it to the grand final. The guys that go in, look for the kills, and just force their own playstyle onto the opponent. But Dignitas, with another great hook, going straight for Breeze here, but he is saved. Smexy is ready, and now they're going for Toronto.
Yeah, and the cleanse is going to be there, but Snitch is in a tough spot. Smex, you know, he's going to only secure the kill there for his team. And we notice, even in that engagement there, the hook lands, Toronto goes for the Lunar Flare and drags out the follow-up. It's whenever we pick Toronto, we talk about the Toronto in a double support, let alone a double support, double warrior. All the CC has to make up for that lack of damage, and anytime Zaylee is not there to get the follow-up, which I personally feel like is going to be quite frequent in this game, considering the lack of mobility on Dahaka. Dignitas is picked. If you considered comp 1 and 2 as hard to execute, this one is near impossible.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're looking at Fnatic just in the beginning and done. But look at this. It's a 2-level lead. They got the second Punisher. They go straight through that middle. We're currently having also the Curse Bullet on Greymane, so they will need the finishing move of a Ragnaros with the Sulfuras or maybe even that Odin. The grenade can also be thrown out by Tychus. That's what they're looking for here. But the window that Fnatic has is insane. It's like they finished the second game, looked at each other, it's like, guys, what are we doing here? We are down 0-2. We got wrecked by a Stitches twice. This is not how we're going out of this tournament. We are going to fight now for our tournament life here. We want the title.
Yeah, I also question whether or not we would see a Bloodlust to be able to make up for the lack of damage that exists on the side of Dig. It would complement the Starfall and the Bile, the limited mobility. But in fact, we're going to see the standard here for Dignitas having the Ancestral.
But I actually feel they really need that. Think about Stitches for a moment. We have the bigger they are on Tychus. If Stitches goes in with the Putrid Bile right into the Tychus, Tychus says thank you very much, drops the D, then the Cursed Bullet comes out and you have Greymane jumping in. That's really the moment when you need that Ancestral. If you don't have that, I feel JPL is going to just die every fight.
We've seen throughout this tournament a really unique problem, or at least I consider it a problem, one that I don't have the solution to, but it's when we see this Cursed Bullet and it's paired with the Tychus, what is your level 4 choice? Is it the bigger they are? They're giving you the higher burst up until hitting that level below 40% HP, or do you go with in the rhythm, stacking your passive, but obviously you're going to have that less initial burst because Cursed Bullet's going to chunk anybody that it hits. You are the follow-up, meaning that you gain less value out of the bigger they are, but you are going to accelerate the rate at which they fall to 40, but you limit your kill potential. It is this very weird dance back and forth. Most teams seem to have committed to the bigger they are. And I am beginning to question it when there is no, again, executioner.
I mean, once again, I think in Europe we're really looking towards in the rhythm as the normal talent to take here and stacking up with a 13. But in this particular setup, I actually like it. I really feel that burst on the single target has to be strong, and Lucio can help to chase targets down if they don't die immediately. So I like the choice here. But you are right, this problem with being the finisher that Greymane usually idealize, that is definitely an issue. But right now, I mean, at this point, Fnatic's plan seems to be working. They had 2 levels ahead. make that one. They're talent ahead, and they will get that punish up at the top lane. Dignitas burned already cooldowns, and they did get nothing out of it.
Yeah, they're going to have to forfeit this over. And Dignitas looks like they are going to be in a position as this game moves forward just because of their lack of shrine control, and they're yet to be able to pick up a lot of those kills, that the map is going to open up heavily against them. And again, without their wave clear, with their crippled wave clear, Dahaka and Mene on that Kael'thas all being the only ones to clear out the map, and the vision on the side of Fnatic, it's only going to make this strategy that much more difficult to, not even considering the talent, that much harder to come back from.
I'm liking what Dignitas is doing here. They know that they cannot really defend up at the top lane without the 13. They go through the bottom, and I love this. Dignitas knows they have to trade. They go bot lane. They're trying to get the talent. Fnatic sees it and realizes immediately that the best move for them is to just walk past the fort that's going to fall anyways towards the Punisher and go straight for the keep, forcing Dignitas back, saving at least for now the fort at the top lane. That is absolute brilliant. They analyzed the situation and made the right call here.
I expected all of Fnatic to all in right there. I'll be honest, when the Punisher moved up, I expected it would just be amp it up, sound barrier with the mobility, and they would try and all in initiate on their opponents. But they're going to play a bit more passive. I am afraid of Fnatic moving into that passive playstyle because Team Dignitas, you have the Stitches factor. You know, it's very much like that Zeratul. If you're out a little bit too far, it only takes that one hook. Yeah. I'm looking to end the game as soon as possible if I'm Fnatic here.
I think what really plays a bit of a role here for Fnatic is that they are slightly afraid that they go in too deep, get greedy, and then lose the advantage that they have. That they said, guys, we could go here, but do we have to? We are the level ahead. Let's play it a bit safer. And there they go. The forest is out, but so is the Ancestral. Budrik Bile is on the ground. In comes Zelia from behind. Oh, looking for the drag. Doesn't get it. The hook is missing too. What an explosive battle here in the mid lane.
Everybody's like, all right, everybody press R at the same time. Now walk away because, yeah, that didn't look good. Neither side was going to be pretty there. We still do have the mosh pit, though, up for Breeze.
Yeah, Breeze was actually looking at it. It seemed for a moment like he had a good opportunity there, but he decided against it. Right now, though, we still have that lead. And I mean, yeah, Fnatic working towards 16 for Dignitas. That means even more pressure. They can always try to get a good hook from outside the shrine. But Fnatic knows that. Fnatic is going to position themselves in a way that that hook should be blocked. So this is a really, really tough spot for Dignitas now once that the next shrine is being announced.
And again, looking at the Tychus build, and I'm not posturing this as I have the right or wrong answer, but it is a very realistic problem we have to be considering. Seeing the Neosteel coding at 13, questioning what he's going to in 16. I can see the defensive viability there, but that already makes it more or less likely. Increasing the probability of getting a kill because the 16 works so well with the 13 to have safe range. They're going to go with the Titan Grenade there. So it's just going to be full nade build, maybe limiting, again, more kill potential. It's got better poke, but you got to begin to ask, like, is this what Fnatic's comp needs?
Oh, the hook! And once again, they go for ETC, but Breeze is able to survive. This is really a problem for Dignitas, and it's starting to show. They have huge problems killing hook targets.
Yep.
That happened several times right now, and in games before, they just blew the targets up. But at this point, you have to question, do they have the burst damage potential to make that happen and threaten Fnatic? And I think that's also the reason why we see the 13, because he said, I cannot guarantee I'm going to dodge all the hooks here. If I'm getting hooked, we don't want to lose the game off one hook. I need to survive the initial burst.
Considering the fact that Mene is going to be the only DPS, that might be a reasonable thing to think. Typically, I would say, well, you are just going to die. But in fact, since it's only magic damage, that is the answer. Bakery hits the Essential. The hook is the response. JPL and the rest of Dig, though, look like they are on retreat.
That's a lot of cooldowns. Burn. Snitch is down. Smexy with a kill on the Lucio. Fnatic looking much stronger. They are showing up to play here. Dignitas, they won the first 2 games in impressive fashion. They nearly made it a 3-0. They still can, but it's looking a little bit unlikely. Fnatic is really playing them to the wall right now. And I feel for Dignitas, it has to be the hook kill to bring it back.
It really feels like that's going to be the case. And without any of their forwards down on the side of Fnatic, that even if they manage to get that one pick, because keep in mind, there is a difference with Stitch's compositions for that mega comeback, because usually when you see that huge tempo swing, it's actually a poor team fight and a complete wipe. When you're looking at the hook, it's only going to be that one pick. And really, looking at Dignitas' composition, if you take any hero on the side of Fnatic and say, well, they're dead, what are the probability that Dignitas 5 versus 4 can siege? The answer is pretty much 0. It's a Phoenix and like maybe a couple of Qs, but they aren't, they aren't busting open the map and suddenly, oh, we lost a keep because Stitches hit one hook.
Do you think they should have gone into a single support again?
Yes, anytime I see the Tyrande, not anytime, but a large portion of the time I see the solo Tyrande, especially if there's a double warrior. You have to sack one of those, but I like the Tyrande by herself in most cases. You've committed to the kill comp. You got a full commit. You know, you can't half commit there.
It just feels like, we talked about it, they are lacking the damage for the burst kill, and that's what Stitches is about in this setup. But let's see what Fnatic can do here in the mid lane. Will Dignitas be able to turn this? It's 16 versus 16. Dignitas has been waiting for it. They sacrificed a lot to be in a situation like this, but it is the kill against Tyrande once again, and this is looking really troublesome for the team in red.
Yeah, I mean, just Wubby there set his eyes, like a sniper really, with that Sulfura smash, got the kill. Now Mene is in the eyes of Quacknix to get the pick. There's gonna be the two-man mosh pit. The kills are happening, 4 men dead. Fnatic's gonna break it down and move to the core.
Fnatic goes for the core. They want to finish the game. Only Dehaka remains. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a grand final on our hands. Team Dignitas loses their core to Fnatic in game number 3 as the Swedish team puts the first point on the board. Shortening is closing the gap. It's a 2-1. Still in favor of Dignitas, but Fnatic is back to business.
Yeah, and I'm already thinking, what caused that change? Fnatic, in this game, they drafted their own style. Dignitas decided to stick to what's been working for them in this grand final so far. And for some reason, Fnatic played more calculated and more controlled, looking at the weaknesses of Dignitas' composition, sieging up early and using their wave clear advantage, and just dismantled it. That was 9-1 in kills in favor of Dignitas, or excuse me, Fnatic. And it just seems like they're like, we're sick of this, you know? Like, screw the Tyrande, we're just gonna play our game to match you.
From start to finish, this grand final has been one hell of a what is happening here moment. And I mean, it's just like turning around the entire time, but it is amazing. I'm loving watching this. We have Stitches, we have Tyrande, we have Fnatic all of a sudden busting out the ETC again, saying like, we are relying on comfort heroes now. This final is shaping up to be absolutely stunning. And of course, we have our analysts also talking about the game. So back to Gilly and the boys.
When it mattered most, Fnatic were able to get a victory finally on the board here in the grand finals of the Western Clash. They are still down 1 game versus Dignitas, but that victory was so important. So let's talk about the draft. Let's break it down. Team Dignitas were still able to get a majority of what they wanted and what they had been running. So what was the adaptation that finally let Fnatic get this win?
Well, one big difference was the fact that Fnatic drafted Ragnaros in first position, who was a consistent element of the first 2 games Dignitas draft. He offers a very nice Sulfura Smash follow-up damage, as well as just being really good all around. Apparently, you can snipe Tyrande from across the map with the Sulfura Smash behind her own keep. But that was a big deal of it. It wasn't everything, though.
Here is the final team fight. Trick the Slow, you want to break it down?
Yeah, so we have the Punisher jumping in here, and watch Tyrande on the right just get sniped completely from Snitch here. Felt pretty bad for him. I was actually kind of wondering what your guys' thoughts were on the build here for Tyrande, with it being double support and KT being the only main primary damage. I was kind of wanting some more damage from her, maybe a hybrid build.
I would have definitely liked for Tyrande to run the just focus attacks or the burning arrows, the extra damage on level 4 at minimum, just so you can get some extra burst. I don't know how you feel about their double support, Grubby.
Yeah, I think you're right. Her level 4, I mean, the Owl build, I think it's her best. I think it's almost her only build. But actually, when you think about it, they had double warrior, double support this time. It kind of ties into that, isn't it? Before, Dignitas was fearless. It seems like they had no pressure. Single stitches, 1 support, triple damage. Suddenly, they have Dehaka, they have double warrior, they have double support. They got scared to do the exact same thing. And I kind of feel like I dropped the ball not saying that before, that they don't have nearly as much follow-up damage as before. Maybe focus attack or searing arrows could have helped with that on Tyrande.
Yeah, just solid play overall. Fnatic seems to be the Fnatic that we know from the last couple of days. They got a composition that works out for them, and then they got a couple of shot calls. Once they got 1 or 2 kills under the belt, they seem to kind of blossom a little bit more and play the way that we're used to seeing them play.
And because of that, Fnatic are able to bring it back in this series. Not completely. It is still a 2-1. Don't forget, as always, tweet using the hashtag HGC, especially if you're a Fnatic fan. Now that they've got one on the board, we want to hear from you. We're going to head to a short break. When we return, we'll see if Fnatic can tie it up or if Dignitas can close out our grand finals.
not destroy the Nexus.
Destroy it. Pitiful fool. This realm holds more power than I've ever